after disenchantment leads us to equanimity. So, what's going on there, though? What's equanimity?
Yeah. There's something similar here to what we've encountered before in tranquility.
Right.
So both tranquility and equanimity, they come after tumultuous revelation.
Right, yeah.
Tranquility follows rapture, which is about really getting a handle on overwhelming, big, often pleasant or unusual experiences, like bliss or mystical insights. And here, with equanimity, this follows disenchantment, which is maybe a more kind of tumultuously negative experience, depression or torment or despair. So in equanimity, there's a coming to terms. We've seen the truth, and it's had an impact on us, but we've worked through that. And where are you going to come to apart from being able to accommodate them? And that's what equanimity. That's what equanimity is about. It's about allowing things to be as they are. Because they're not going to be any other way. We can't change that. So there's a letting go of preferences, expectations,
attachments, emotions around it.
Yeah.
I suppose in this one, so the guy has got up and he's walked out. It's actual. Right, I have to. Where he's avoiding it in some ways in disenchantment, there's no longer an avoidance. It's just it's seeing it for what it is.
It's interesting because often when we move from disenchantment into equanimity, there can be a sort of initial phase of equanimity, which can feel a little bit sucky. It's almost like not caring anymore.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that's sort of on the way to equanimity. That's, there's a certain disengagement in that. So it's not equanimity as such. There's a slight aversion there still, but maybe that gives a sense of where this card is pointing. So to begin with, it may be sort of not caring. I just don't care anymore. I'm so over this.
Yeah. But that you're within that you're still caring. You're still attached. Yeah. There's still an emotion. There's still you're not caring because you're caring. Yeah.
And then maybe from that equanimity proper can grow where things we find the capacity just to allow them to be. It's a very open, expansive state. When we're encountering this state in terms of meditation or insight, a good test is always to try to break it.
Right. Yeah.
That can be interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering, whether you're in the state of equanimity, try winding yourself up. Try and break it.
Yeah. Go hang out with your family.
Yeah. Or think of something that annoys you or depresses you, or also something that really attracts or excites you.
And see what your reaction is.
Yeah. And if you can't break it,
well done.
Then that's a good sign that that's where you are. And that's maybe something that's there in the image.
Yeah, an image. This was actually based on an actual thing that I saw after a peak experience, let's say. It was a good while after. I think it was like the day after, whatever, and it was just that was still hanging around, whatever. And then I came down into this river in the forest that I was in, and it was there, and it just I went, notice me, I'm here, and it just felt like something that would fit in with this, because it's how I felt at the time. And I also like the idea of drawing on something from personal experience with it as well. But of course, the standing stone things fits what we're trying. Everything's in its place. It is what it is.
Yeah. What was it that you saw? Was it something that somebody had built?
Yeah, someone had built. But it was in a place that I'd been many times, and this had never been there. And it felt like it was waiting for me, or it was for me. Not, but also not. Like I clearly knew that someone had made it for themselves, But it was in whatever experience was going on.
Yeah, I mean, in the image, somehow what you've done there is created a sense of something that's sort of improbable, but it looks kind of strong as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all made out of rock, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, like, even from, if you wanted to challenge the probability of it, that's how it, like, I took a photo of it, so it's not just it was balanced like that. So I mean, it is, as in real life, it also looked like it shouldn't exist, as a lot of those things can kind of look, because it's going on weight rather than shape, say, or whatever, and so it kind of makes you look at something in a different way. But again, we have the rocks behind us, and this kind of echoes a bit, in a sense, the Bert one, where you have the two things coming up. So that, and this sort of kind of, in a sense, could be the masculine version of it if you really wanted to. But that was something I noticed later, so I don't know how irrelevant that is to it, but it's certainly there, and you can't unsee it once you see it.
Well, maybe it's suggesting that something's going to come from equanimity. Something's about to be birthed. So,
from a divination point of view, what do we?
Certainly a card of coming to terms with things and doing that successfully and fully.
So it's not that you're getting bad news, for instance, it's that you're okay with the bad news. You become okay with it, or whatever the situation is.
Yeah, that it's not shied away from, that the full implications are seen. There's a peace there.
The acceptance, I suppose, is the word that's coming to me. I know it's not quite the right word, but it's... Because with acceptance, you can kind of go, well, I accepted it's shit. There still can be a charge or whatever, rather than it's just, it is what it is. It's the realization it is what it is, rather than you're accepting it, even though you don't agree with it or you don't disagree with it or whatever it is. And there's just trying to, because I know the feeling of it, so I'm just trying to describe it. It's there's a sense, though, even though this is kind of, again, putting in emotion, but that it's okay. That's okay. It's just, this is how it is, and it's neither good nor bad. It's okay. It's not wrong. It's not right, but it's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I suppose applying that then to whatever situation that was asked in the questions, it's like, right, it mightn't be what you hoped for, it mightn't be what you were scared of, but it is what it is, and you're okay with that.
Yeah. And I think, in everyday terms, there's going to be a significance here of agreement, mediation, settlement, those sorts of ideas, synthesis as well.
All right, okay.
And anything that might be about reconciling different elements together into a whole.
Compromise, would that be putting too much? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. Yeah.
And then the reversed.
Yeah. So in terms of near enemies, maybe things that look resolved on the surface, but aren't.
Yeah. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
So
I'm not annoyed.
In the image, that column of rocks, like I was saying, somehow you managed to make that look quite strong. So the reverse meanings of this card would be, you might go up to it and one little touch is going to knock the whole thing down.
Right, yes, yeah. So frailty, or something being fragile, or not having the foundations that it would need, or seems to present itself as.
Yeah.
Rejection on the basis of principles rather than experience. So again, it's trying to project emotions or feelings or your own sense of righteousness onto the situation rather than dealing with the situation as it actually is.
Yeah. Rather than actually being reconciled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose, again, a question it could come along is that if you were asking a question, say, like something, how does someone feel about me? And it came up reversed, it would be, well, they might say to you that everything is okay, but deep down it's not okay. That type of thing. Largely, I suppose, it's going to depend on the question with this one as well.
Yeah. And it might indicate something like, strong feelings under the surface.
Yeah.
Probably negative. I mean, I think
you don't really have happiness under the. He's secretly happy, that fellow.
And I think as well with this one, the near enemies of equanimity can be things like indifference, nihilism.
Yeah. Giving up. I don't care.
Yeah, apathy. Yeah.
So, after equanimity, we get to liberation.